I think she naked. What's up guys, back with another review, and today I have for you the McFarlane Dune figures from the new Dune movie that was supposed to come out in December but has been delayed till next year along with everything else. Now I never actually read the Dune book because it's so long, and I never actually watched the other Dune movies because they didn't really interest me, but this particular movie does interest me because of the incredibly star-studded cast. Just look at these figures alone. You got Javier Bardem, aka the awesome villain from James Bond Skyfall. You got Jason Momoa, aka Aquaman. You got Rebecca Ferguson, who's Elsa from the Mission Impossible series. You got Dave Bautista as the Build-A-Figure, and that's not even all. Just watching the trailer, you see there's Oscar Isaac, aka Poe Dameron, and Thanos himself, Josh Brolin. It's like, whew. So yeah, I'm excited about this movie just because of the cast, and it actually looks pretty cool too in the trailer, plus their costumes look cool too. So let's go and bust these open and take a closer look. Alright, now first off, it looks like these boxes are all the same from the House of Atreides. I don't know how to pronounce that, I never watched the movies. But the Freeman, played by Javier Bardem, or at least one of them at least, is a different color on the top, as you can see. And here's one side that just shows their names there. I do know that this lady Jessica is the mother of this Paul Atreides here, so that's one thing I do know. Other side is boring. Ditto for the top. The back of the boxes are pretty cool though, with some glam shots and also information and all that other stuff, wording, and also info on the Build-A-Figure, Dave Bautista, which honestly just buy all four and you're all set. And there they are guys, out of the packaging, and disgusting packaging it was too. Not the design, but the vacuum tray on the inside. It was just coated in that slimy, disgusting mold release stuff, and oh, I hate that stuff. Now first thing I want to point out is that there's only really two body sculpts. You got the big male versions right here, and then these are actually the exact same body sculpts, except this portion right here on the torso is different on Lady Jessica versus him. And I can better show that with the skeleton Lady Jessica that you saw in the pre-intro. Oh geez, I hate it when that happens. Anywho, they all share this exact same internal skeleton, as you can see here. These are the only hard pieces, and the rest of it, the bodies right here, is actually all soft pieces, 3 of them to be exact. You have 1, 2, and 3. And in the case of Lady Jessica here, the only difference is the middle piece right here. This part is different than the dudes. Now if you're wondering why I have 2 Lady Jessicas, it's because I bought 2 Lady Jessicas, and this first one I opened, I actually kind of broke right there in the joint, because what I found, I'll warn you now so you don't do the same thing, is that the articulation backwards is quite good, but the articulation forward, there's just so much material here that it does not want to bend. I pushed too much forward, and as you can see right here, I cracked that right there, and I was just like, oh no. So it put too much pressure, it just popped off like so, as you can see, and that's why I was like, well, if I might as well go all the way, so I just completely took her apart. Now like I said, these are all soft goods. The body, as you can see, they're all squishy on their own, but the problem is when you're going backwards, it works fine because it's kind of like these reptile scales where you're going in the proper direction and it just kind of unfolds. But when you try to go forward, there's just so much material here, it just, as you can see, even with nothing in there, it does not want to bend, and that's what caused it to crack. So don't do that. Although I do have to admit, she does look kind of cool, like all naked and stuff, I guess. She looks kind of like a T-800 Terminator skeleton, so that's pretty awesome. But since she's apart, I'll go ahead and show how the articulation works. You see this top portion right here? This gives you the rotation, and it also pops off with a little bit of force, just like so. And then this portion right here is the forward and backward movement, as you can see. And then this bottom portion here, which I cracked, is the side to side, and then you just pop that off. You don't have to break it, you just pop it off gently like that. Then you have the legs and then the upper portion. And if there's any of you out there wanting to customize this figure, you can pop the head off, comes off really easy. The arms actually come off very easy as well. As I said, I just totally went to town with it. Arms come off like so. The little shoulder joint, butterfly joint, and then you have that. And then as for the legs, they actually pop at the joint right in there. Just pull out like so, and that is how the leg comes out. You just have that right there, and you can get the other leg out too, and you can really just completely disassemble this figure. So yeah, here's all the pieces disassembled. You got the legs there, then the body, then you got the the little waist right here, the head, and then the torso pivot right there, and then the butterfly joint ball. Now a little tidbit on how to take this top portion off. This top portion is the hardest part. These bottom parts is pretty simple. I mean, you got this just kind of went into the torso like so, then this, wait, yep, no, that's right. Then this went in this like that, and then this just popped in like so, and then this kind of popped in through the top right there, as you can see. But this one right here was a pain to take off of the body. In fact, I had to just really finagle it super hard and just all that stuff. And you may be tempted to use hot water, but I do not recommend it because it's pretty robust, but when you start heating it up, it's going to get soft, and I can almost guarantee you the amount of pressure you need to get this off, you're probably either going to stretch it or tear it. So just go with it and force it. Like I said, it's robust. Just squeezed it out. I had to just do this and it popped out. So yeah. All right, now let's go and look at the figures. All right, now starting with the head here, the face actually does kind of look like Rebecca Ferguson. It's pretty nice. Not with all these bright lights, but when you start getting some contours and shadows into it, you can start to see the resemblance and all that. Although she does have a really big, actually, let me take this off. Like I said, the head pops off so you can, well, there goes that mouthpiece. Well, that should be easier. Anyways, like I said, she has a really big uneven jaw right there. I don't know if that's how she's supposed to look. I was trying to look at some pictures. It seemed like that was accurate, but at the same time, this seems a little bit overblown, but it's the same thing on the other one too. So I feel like it's just the way they sculpted it. See, she's got the big chin there. So if you have that, it's probably the way it's supposed to be. And the hair itself is really nicely sculpted as well. Soft too, and there's just so much details and highlights in it. I really like the way they did that. And here's a closer look at the mask there, which actually looks really nice, although I don't think it was really designed for them to wear it. Case in point with Lady Jessica, you just can't get it on her face because it does not want to go over there because it's just, her hair's too big, and you can't get it down here as well because this just gets in the way. Plus when you try to fit it, it doesn't really fit right. It goes there, and then you see there's all that gap and stuff. So I don't think it was meant to be worn. It was just meant to be like, under the nose, I guess. Anywho, moving into the soft goods body here, it's really nicely detailed. Look at all that weathering and the highlights to make it look awesome. Really nice overall, as you saw, it's soft there. Nice detailing on the arms as well. Lots of sculpting there. The gloves look great as well. Look kind of like Oakley combat gloves right there. There's a back there looking pretty nice there. Then same thing with the other arm, is the same as the other arm. And the elbow has a strange grayness in there. I guess it looks nice. It gives it a different suit color, I guess. And then moving in the legs there, we got lots more details. Very well sculpted, just like the upper body. And honestly, these suits kind of remind me of like alien suits, like the Ridley Scott alien movies. Not alien, although technically they're aliens. But anyways, this little piece right here, kind of the gator piece, it's actually a separate piece. It does wiggle, but you can't really move it or anything like that. So in case you're wondering if this is supposed to be articulation, it's not. It's just a separate piece that's slapped on there. And it does hinder the foot movement, unfortunately, but at least it still looks good. These shoes look really nice as well. Take a closer look at that. Very well detailed all the way around. Nice treads too. And as for articulation, her head does rotate in a full circle and has some decent side to side as well, and up and down. The arm rotates in the usual circle with great shoulder reach right there, and the bicep swivel spins in a circle, and she has a double jointed elbow, and her hand spins in a circle and has the typical McFarlane joint right there. Now with the suit on, she still can rotate in a full circle like so, and great side to side range from that joint, but like I said, with the suit on, goes backwards pretty decently, but forwards about that much, and I wouldn't go too much further, otherwise you might crack it like I did. Now as for the legs, because of this soft torso, this rubbery torso here, she has incredible range because it doesn't hinder her at all. She can just make incredible movements like so. You also get some little McFarlane thigh swivel, I guess, and the double jointed knee, which goes pretty decent right there, and then the foot that goes tad bit forward and back if you fight this rubber gator, and then it spins in a circle as well, and then the toe goes forward and back. Now, as I said earlier, the Lady Jessica here has the exact same body sculpt as her son right here. The only difference being this little loin piece. As you can see, hers comes down into kind of a V shape. His just is round into a ball. But other than that, the exact same body with the exact same articulation. The only difference is the head. And here's a closer look at his head with the mask still on. And now I will remove the mask for a better view. Alright, there we go. Now, I don't know who this Fu is, either the character he plays or the actor, so I can't really comment on whether it looks like him or not, but the sculpt definitely looks great. Look at that hair. Look at all those fine hairs that go around. I mean, they really gave him a nice mane there, and he's got some very chiseled face, so I mean, it's pretty cool, whoever he is. And for accessories, Lady Jessica comes with this little side sling backpack here, which looks pretty nice overall. It's got an interesting attachment point. She also comes with this Funky Town knife, which looks just sick. I really dig this knife design. Like, I would totally have this in real life and probably get arrested for owning one. And then her boy Wonder's son comes with 3 knives, the same knife that she comes with, and then his own double blades that look just like your typical military combat retractable knives, but they're still pretty cool there, and they're pretty soft overall, so that you don't have to worry about poking yourself out, so they're perfectly legal. And the strange backpack sling just kind of goes over her shoulder like so. It opens up, flip it over her head, get this portion right here that's a little bit more firm, get that under there, and then just, I guess, just flap that like so. It looks kind of weird. I don't know, maybe you put this underneath, it looks a little better, something like that. But yeah, so it's really strange design, definitely not made to look very clean and stuff, but it's still cool. Alright, and moving into the big dudes here, like I said, their bodies are exactly the same this time around, not a single difference except their heads, so we'll just go ahead and take a closer look at one and then the head of the other. Alright, starting with Javier Bardem, Skyfall villain bad guy here. That's what it looks like with his mask under his nose, and his head pops off equally easily because it's the exact same body style as the other one, just a little bit bigger. And there he is without the mask, and I think it looks pretty decent, you know, not super close to Javier, but close enough to where you're like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. His beard's kind of, the print there, it's very obvious that it's just, you know, printed on there, very toyish, I guess you could say, even though it's obviously a toy. The eyes definitely look a lot better, so overall it's not bad. Great sculpting too. And the hair overall is pretty decent. It has some highlights, but it is shorter hair, so he doesn't have as much of the nice waves to make it look all fancy and stuff, but they did a good job for what it's worth. And the body is the same as Jessica's, aka Elsa from Mission Impossible, just on a larger scale. You got the same detailing, the weathering, all that good stuff right there. I just love the looks, and honestly, the soft rubbery goods that they use for it is actually pretty nifty. It's pretty interesting. I kind of like it because of the flexibility it gives, especially with the legs. You know how you just have so much flexibility with the legs that goes forward and backwards because of that. But at the same time, like, I know us collectors like to hold on to these figures for pretty much our lifetime, so it does make me wonder about deterioration issues when they start hitting, you know, I don't know, 40 years old, but we will see. And I don't know, maybe McFarlane might not be around for us to complain by then, but hopefully. Oh, and the leg gaiters, exact same thing, separate piece put on here, and they kind of wiggle, but they don't rotate. And it's all the same articulation, so I won't bore you too much with it. He's got all the same range, all that. Same thing for the torso, it goes far back like so, but don't push it forward because the same issue starts to occur. Oh, and they also have a butterfly joint here. I forgot to show that on Lady Jessica, which I can show right now. See, they got the butterfly joint, but you already saw that because you saw the skeleton. Oh, and as for leg range, I guess this is designed a little bit differently. It doesn't go quite as far forward or as far back as Lady Jessica's body, but it's still pretty good, and it's definitely better than Marvel Legends gives you. Same thing with the splits. They can go further, but you start stretching that rubber, so it's discretion advised there. Oh, and going back to the head here, since he has very short hair and an easier head sculpt to fit this over, that's what the mask looks like when you attempt to put it on his face. As you can see, it doesn't sit all super well, and it looks weird because of this little flap thing like so. So I mean, let's try to adjust that. So you can put it over his mouth if you want, but it only works for him because he has short hair. Probably Jason Momoa's too, so that's not too bad. But aside from that, it just looks better like that. And here's Aquaman's face with the mask on there, as you can see, and it looks pretty decent. Goes over his little ponytail there. And That's what he looks like with the mask down. Definitely the better way to show it. And there he is without his mask, and definitely an awesome sculpt of Jason Momoa. It's not pretty, I'd say it's about 80%. Definitely acceptable. Looks pretty cool too, especially with the scratched eye. The beard has the same issue where on the very edges you can see the kind of toyish print on it, which is unfortunate, but at a distance you can't really tell. And he does have nicer hair because it is longer, and it comes into a nice ponytail too, which is actually pretty cool. Little ponytail. And then that's the rest of the hair, looking pretty nice with all the highlights. And Jason Momoa's character comes with 2 swords here, which look pretty awesome. They got some silver on the edges. Not sure if that's supposed to be like that. And they're pretty soft as well. Here's the other sword, the short blade. Long and short blades. And then James Bond villain also comes with the exact same backpack as Lady Jessica's, as well as her exact same knife. Now, one kind of unfortunate thing is, although they come with all these different blades and stuff, there's actually no place to actually insert them as a kind of temporary holding place on either body, which is unfortunate because I guess we got spoiled with all the G.I. Joe classifieds and all that other cool stuff that actually has slots for them. But either way, it's still pretty cool. And finally, of course, they all come with a Dune stand, which is a McFarlane trademark. Alright, now let's go and take a closer look at Dave Bautista's character. The main reason I bought all 4 because he looks so sick and I want to build him. You got his legs right here, then you got his arms right here. You got his 2 weapons here, which is a big long machete sword and then a whip here, his body, and then his head. Alright, get the legs on there, then get the arms on. Alright, now for the finishing touch, let's go and get his head on there, and bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Dave Bautista as Rabban, and man, he looks good. Definitely well worth buying all 4. Alright, now starting with the head, this is a really great looking Dave Bautista head. Just look at that all the way around. They got his kind of, you know, oddly shaped head there with all the little nooks and crannies and all that stuff. I think all these scars is just like makeup from the movie and all that stuff, obviously, but still looks awesome. But seriously, just look at the face, look at the likeness, look at the paint. It's just, there's a lot of possibilities with this head. You could paint him and turn him into a Drax. Man, can you imagine this head sculpt as a Drax? Whew. Or you can just kind of, you know, stick him on any other figure that you want to look like Dave Bautista. So this is definitely, if anything, this head sculpt is like worth everything. But of course, that's not all, because you get this crazy awesome looking suit right here. Look at that. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does have some silver highlights ever so slightly. As you can see, it just kind of blends into the back. Nice gloss black right there. The sculpting is just incredible on this suit. I don't know anything about this character or figure, but dang, they did a good job on this suit. These little pieces right here are actually pretty hard, so they'll hold their shape. They won't just flop around. The arm looks crazy awesome as well. Just look at all that detail. I mean, it's all black, but whew, it looks really good. Hands look great as well on both sides. And moving on down, his little kind of beltish slash whatever this cloth is hanging down here is pretty cool too. It's actually very stiff, surprisingly. You can see this goes all the way in there. Nothing on the inside detail wise. And it's just really nicely sculpted. Everything's all black, but it's just so nicely sculpted. It's just really nice. Just, man, looks really good. Except for this right here, this thigh gap. It's like, it doesn't seem to want to go in. I might have to try to heat it up to really get it in there. I don't know if I really want to do that, but yeah, that's kind of annoying. It doesn't fit very nicely, but well, there's the feet right there, and yeah, great sculpt. And as for articulation, his head rotates in the usual circle, has some pretty decent side to side, and also goes up and down. And his shoulder does the usual rotation, has pretty good range up there, and his elbow is kind of weird. It's a single joint, as you can see, and it actually rotates at the joint, but the bicep is a separate piece that rotates on its own. It's not actually a part of anything, it just kind of rotates, so it's really weird. But anyways, same thing on both sides. And then his hand rotates in the usual circle and then goes up and down, or side to side, depending on what angle you have it. Now as for the torso, this entire suit piece is one piece. There is no dividing line or cut whatsoever, so the rotation, the movement is just very limited. You can kind of move it that way. It looks like it has the same mechanism inside, because you can get some decent side to side, but good luck going forward. and backwards because that suit says And as for the legs, it can go forward pretty decent, but not back because of this loincloth. Man, from this angle, it kind of looks like a locust from Gears of War. But anyways, he does the splits about that much, not very much. This cloth, this whole suit really hinders the articulation. And I guess technically you can say he has thigh swivel because of that connection joint there, so that kind of works, I guess. Then he has a double jointed knee that goes back pretty decently. And then his foot has the usual McFarlane ball joint inside, if you can actually see it and get to it. But this piece right here completely hinders it so much, you can barely move it. So, oh, good luck with that. Then toe goes forward. And then he comes with his machete sword here, which just looks devastating. Until you flex it, then it's just flaccid. And then he comes with this really interesting looking whip, or at least I think it's a whip. It could be a flag too, I don't know, maybe a weird looking flag. Got some pretty nice details though, and some paint on it, and of course it's flexible. And that's what it looks like holding his accessories, his machete knife and his whip. Rah! Looking so cool. Really liking this. Although just a heads up, his hand is super tight, so I had to really kind of flex it out to get this in, and some of the skin tone paint on the inside chipped off, so just a heads up. And for some comparisons, here they all are next to each other. For some reason I thought Batista would have been taller, but I guess that doesn't really make sense. Here they are next to some Marvel Legends, one of which being Star Turd. I don't know, if you did use the proper body, you might be able to use that head to make a Drax to go with the Legends. Here they are next to the wicked cool Jazzwares Halo figures. What? Halo! And here they are next to some fellow McFarlanes, the DC Multiverse line. And also the McFarlane Warhammer Space Marine. Dude, this guy is sick. If you guys haven't got him yet, you totally need to get him, because dang. Well guys, overall these are actually some really nice figures from McFarlane, especially the Batista figure with that head sculpt. Whew. Now one thing I do wonder is, since these figures still came out even though the movie's been delayed for like a whole year, I'm pretty sure it's almost guaranteed that they're gonna end up on clearance and just sold out at like probably Ross and stuff like that. But the real question is, when the movie comes out, will they make a second run, or will they just be one and done because the stores see it as a clearance item and store systems are too stupid to understand this type of stuff, so they may not recommend reordering. So with that in mind, if you guys are interested in these figures at all, I highly recommend just getting them now, because when the movie comes out, if it happens to be super awesome, you may not get a chance to get these again, aside from eBay. And with that said, as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the remaining 3.75-inch Halo figures that I have yet to review. Sand, it gets everywhere, and peace.